Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our first edition of the final pitches of our specialization Option-E in Impact Entrepreneurship. And the pitches are around Choose to Act. Pitch your project for change. I'm Alisa Zudo, the assistant professor for entrepreneurship at the Turin campus, and I'm very, very happy to finally see the final results of our Option-E students. So I'm very excited because we have a very exciting journey since January, and now we see the final pitches. So what will happen today? What we see is we have the core, so we have the pitches of our students. We have 6 groups, which will be very exciting. Okay, as you can see here, we have the 6 groups and we also have 6 jury members. And I'm very happy to introduce you our very strong and critical jury. First of all, as Option-E is co-designed by ESCP and Cotino Social Impact Campus, we of course have from both of them 2 jury members. So first of all, we have Laura Orestano, board member of the Cotino Social Impact Campus, and we have with us Francesco Rattalino, the dean of our Turin campus ESCP. Moreover, we have Vincenzo Magri with us, who is the founder and CEO of The 100. Moreover, we have Alessandro Panerai with us, Manager Entrepreneur Selection and Growth from Endeavor, Italy. Then we also have the very critical voice from an investor part. So we have Davide Cecchini, who is Business Development Manager from the Club delle Investitori. Last but not least, we have Marcello Tedeschi, who is the Head of Strategy and Business Development from Alchemia Investment. So what will happen in terms of agenda? First of all, we have the opening, what we already do now. Then we have a brief introduction from René Mauer, who is professor from the Berlin campus and the European coordinator from the Say Institute. Then we have the core, which is regarding our pitches from the students. Here we will see 5 minutes pitch and 5 minutes comments from our very critical jury. Then we need actually to decide who will be the winner, the final winner of 500 euros, which they can decide if they want to actually put it into their startup, or the second choice, if they actually want to put it for a charity event. When the jury needs to decide who will be the winner, we actually have the pleasure to see the very interesting keynote from Alberto Cartasegna, who is the founder and CEO of Miscusi. Last but not least, we have the Q&A session, which is very important for all of you that are following us on YouTube. So if you have questions, don't be shy, make comments on YouTube, and we will dedicate enough time at the end after the announcement of the winners for your questions, so you have the space to make all the questions you actually want to. So now, enough from my side. I wish you all a lot of fun, enjoy it. I'm very curious about who will be the final winner. And now I leave the virtual stage to René Mauer, who will do a welcome and a good luck for all the Option-E students. So René, thanks for being with us. Virtual stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Alisa. You can hear me well, I hope. Thanks for inviting me. I'm super happy. As Alisa said, I'm actually professor for entrepreneurship innovation on the Berlin campus of ESCP, and also in this great position to be here and there coordinating our European entrepreneurship department, which we also call the Jean-Baptiste Say Institute for Entrepreneurship. The reason why we picked that name is that Jean-Baptiste Say is one of the co-founders of ESCP, as many of you will know, but he's also been a person who has been kind of, let's say, marketing in some way the term entrepreneurship, which is why we are using that even these days so often. So we have been active as an institute and as a department already for quite some while at ESCP, but only have actually become institutionalized 2017. So you could say we're still a little bit of a startup ourselves, trying to find our own ways of creating impact here. And we have been growing to a number of 60 people across all campuses now, with Elisa, you're part of that kind of latest editions also on the Turin campus. So congratulations to you and Francesco for bringing that to life, bringing entrepreneurship related activities to life, and now also in the form of the Option-E on the Turin campus, which is absolutely wonderful to see. I know all the colleagues are with you this minute of closing this first iteration of the Option-E. It's beautiful to see that happening. It's also beautiful to see great partners being with you, primarily here, Cortino Social Impact Hub. I would like to connect that with the information that although we're quite young as a department at the ECP, we're not the new kids on the block, right? The new kids on the block right now are the sustainability colleagues who just, 2 months ago, I think, created their own department. And the most interesting thing about that is, there's entrepreneurship now, there's sustainability, but I think those two are the innovations in terms of business school departments in quite some time. And I'm wondering what that can tell us. I hope it can tell us that, the whole idea of business administration and management is shaping. It takes different forms and it's in under development, probably partially because we're in times of crisis. And I'm obviously not only talking health crisis here, but we also have other topics to worry and take care of. In general, I think it's a bigger topic that we're addressing here, and one that I actually found in a nice word on the Cortino website just when I was revisiting it an hour ago, which is world making. So I think world making is a great term. It's a big term. It sounds like a big challenge, but it's one that's embracing all these topics that we're taking care of in the entrepreneurship department, the Jean-Baptiste Say Institute for Entrepreneurship, but also in then the areas of sustainability. And I think this comes nicely together here. Choose to act, that's the topic. It's about projects for change. I'm very much looking forward to it and wishing all the best to the contestants of the day and the first intake of that Option-E on the Turin campus. Thanks for having me. All the best to you. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much, René. Thanks for your very, very kind voice. I'm very happy that you have been here with us, also from the Say Institute. So now we are not losing more time. We're getting closer and closer to the pitches. And here we are. I leave the virtual stage to the first group, who is the group Avo Mama. So the virtual stage is now for Giacomo, Federica, Aurelie, and Patrick. Good luck. You know me, you have 5 minutes, very sharp. 5 minutes. Good luck.
Okay, can I share my screen, right?
Yes.
You can see that?
Yeah, it's working for me.
Okay.
All right, then let's begin. First of all, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Alisa and everyone who made the course what it was, and for the fact that you managed to organize the final event despite all the challenges that we're all facing right now. And to begin, I'd like to give the word to Aurelie, who's going to start with our proposition.
Would you be willing to give your child a false start in life before they're even born? Well, this is what nearly 1/5 of children in the United States are facing. The country is tackling a severe obesity health crisis, and in particular, child obesity is placing the health of an entire generation at risk. The facts are astounding. 18.5% of US children aged 2 to 19 are classified obese, and 14.5% of toddlers are already obese. If obese at this age, it's a problem that's nearly impossible to reverse. We can see even more how ingrained the problem is when we look at some nutritional facts. For instance, 1 in 4 Americans eat fast food daily, and they eat 31% more packaged foods than fresh, whole foods. What's more, the issue is trifold, placing an immense burden on physical and mental health, which in children and adolescents can take the shape of diabetes and a higher chance of heart disease, bullying, severe body image issues, and a prevalence to develop depression and eating disorders. Obesity is also costing a staggering amount for the United States' healthcare industry. Out of $190 billion total spent on obesity, a staggering $14 million is spent each year on child obesity alone. Seeing the immensity of the problem, our potential market is very promising. Because obesity is such an ingrained problem in US society, we decided to tackle the issue from the root. That is, by targeting expecting couples as our customers, so they can change their eating practices before their child is even born. In the US, 69% of people are overweight or obese. When considering expecting couples with at least one member in this category and those living in cities, we sized our market to be about 3 million people.
Now, you're probably going to ask yourselves, why the name Avo Mamas and why avocado? The answer is easier than you think. Firstly, because avocados are perceived as nutritious food for healthy diets. Indeed, they are a great source of vitamins, magnesium, and potassium. And then, most importantly, they provide us with potential health benefits, including improving digestion, decreasing risk of depression, and protection against cancer. Second reason is because of the shape of an avocado cut in half that reminds of a shape of a pregnant woman holding kindly her baby in the womb. And third, the sound of the company name is very easy to remember, both for parents and for children. Finally, last but not least, it goes without saying that everyone likes avocados.
Now onto our solution. To solve this major health crisis, we want to provide a new solution. So to prevent the problem before it's too difficult to change, because it's already challenging for adults to lose weight and it's really impossible for children. Obesity is like drugs, once you're affected, it's already too late. And it's difficult to talk to parents about the issue, which is why we want to work with them before the child arrives and before it is obese. So we provide a holistic program of theoretical lessons focused on nutrition and weight management, combined with practical cooking courses for expecting couples. These two are delivered in tandem over multiple weeks through in-person classes as well as through our website. And to assist the process, we also want to forge partnerships with healthcare providers who may even want to pay for the program for their insurance people. We also want to offer an app to assist the process and provide further support to parents after the course is over.
In conclusion to this speech, I'm going to introduce the member of our startup, the Avocados, Federica, Aurelie, Patrick, and myself, Giacomo. As you can see, we really are an heterogeneous group with completely different backgrounds, starting from a classic economic background, going through film production, concluding with English literature. Our role in this startup are Federica as CFO for her background and experience, Aurelie as a CSO for engagement with a problem, Patrick as CEO for his position, and me as a CEO. This is the end of our presentation, but come join us in building an healthier world. Thank you for your attention. Now we are here if you have any questions. So.
Thank you so much. Very nice. Now we have the comments of the jury. Stage is yours.
Okay, if I can start. You said that obesity is like being drug addicted. Okay, so how is your startup and solution gonna get people out of this addiction? Because
maybe I can answer that because I mentioned it, I think, in my part. So what I meant by that is that we're kind of orienting this towards more, I don't know if you have them in Italy, probably you do. In Germany, we have, for example, smoking prevention programs in schools or drug prevention programs. Because I think that is usually more effective if you prevent the problem before it arrives. That's what that kind of metaphor was meant to say.
Yeah, but your target market is people that are already obese.
No, the target market is parents who are obese, but we're not targeting the parents. We're not trying to solve their problem. We're trying to just relate the solution to the children because they don't want their children to probably face the same challenges later.
Okay.
So just to clarify, the program is for the children, to prevent the children from being obese, not the parents themselves.
But if people are not eating healthy because they are obese, how do you think they're going to be eating differently? How do you think that their kids are going to be eating differently if they live in the same household?
So what we're trying to do is basically educate them on both the nutrition aspect and then on the practical side so they can learn to cook. And the hope is that throughout the courses, it's going to encourage them to change their eating habits and sort of as a household, be able to welcome the child in an environment where already they're eating a bit healthier. So we are trying to make the couple themselves more health conscious and more nutrition focused and just be a bit more aware of these things, so that then they can educate their child in this kind of environment. Because, once the kid is already obese and is accustomed to eating a certain way and have certain habits, it can be very hard to change. So what we're trying to do is to give the parents sort of a head start so that the child can then be welcomed into an environment that is going to be supportive of, eating well and staying at a correct weight.
Okay.
There's one question from my side, guys. Can you please explain which is the business model? Who is paying? Who is the customer? How much does it cost? And yeah.
I think we have an extra slide with some metrics. Yes, so I think here we have some traction projection. I don't know if you guys want to jump in, Federica, maybe.
Yes, so basically we thought about two different business models. One concerning the B2B model and one B2C. So basically we are going to have a business with both clients that are parents or expecting couples, and with insurance, so that they can provide this kind of program to schools and to other institutions.
And the business model is basically so that, either the health insurance pays because they want to save money in the long term by having healthier patients, right? Or the parents pay. And then the program is over multiple weeks with the courses and the lessons. Yeah, that's the model.
I have one question on my side, if you allow me. Don't you think that by tackling the problem of obesity, you're actually impacting on the environment side? Because avocados for sure are not environmental friendly in terms of growing and in terms of, let's say, whole cycle of production.
What's even less environmentally friendly than avocados, though, I would say, is, packaged processed foods, fast foods, which are incredibly bad for the environment. And so our logo is an avocado, but we're going to, encompass a holistic, healthy way of eating, which actually is staying away from some of the biggest damagers to the environment, like McDonald's and other fast food chains, and packaged foods, which are often packaged in plastic, etc. So well, I would argue that it would actually be better for the environment.
Well, I will rate the same arguments of Marcello. Avocado are not sustainable and are creating monoculture in second and third world, and actually are creating problems. So even if us in the first world like avocado very much, as many other monoculture, I think they are creating problem. You should probably consider the whole chain. It's creating social problem as well. So you should consider the whole chain of sustainability. All the actors and stakeholders involved. Of course, children with obesity, but also people growing avocados.
Yeah, I mean,
the avocado is just the logo, the symbol of our brand, because the avocado, right, has become such a sign of, healthy eating or whatever. But it's not like we're just going to be using avocados, or it's like.
All right, so Avo Mama probably should be the name of the project and not of the company. Otherwise, it would be very, very, very much focused on single fruit, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's a controversial kind of symbol.
Yeah. But
okay, just in terms of timing, I saw Alessandro, you wanted to add something.
Yeah, very extremely quickly, actually, like I was wondering.
Last point, and then we move on. Go on, Alessandro.
Yeah. Whether you would consider promoting different kind of foods, like more exotic ones, like plant-based food, for instance. Have you thought about it?
Sorry, what kind of food?
Plant-based.
But again, this is not what we are trying to promote. Like our program is not based on avocado. It's just the sign of the company. But of course, the diets are going to be based on you know, healthy food and everything else. The avocado is just you know, like a funny and sweet sign, just to be easier to remember for parents and kids and people in general.
Yeah, and to get back to the base model, I think the vision is to also obviously address, because also as someone mentioned, a poverty issue sometimes, the healthy eating. So actually we want to keep the course, you know, manageable in terms of, we don't want to recommend just expensive ways of providing healthy food, you know, so it should be affordable as well. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much for the first pitch, Avo Mamas. You can relax now. Now we jump to the second group, which is peer livery. So the virtual stage now is open for Mathieu, Jean-Baptiste, Niels, and Annalisa. Ready,
Hello.
steady, go. 5 minutes for you.
Hello. I'm going to share my screen. So let me introduce you Peer Livery, which is a new peer-to-peer service that offers safe, sustainable, and cheap deliveries. In fact, we like to compare to our solution to the BlaBlaCar of deliveries.
So we wanted to study in depth first the issues related to delivery systems. So the first issue we wanted to address is the one related to the time required for delivery, since the process of sending and delivering packages takes a lot of time, while we need our items in the shortest time possible. Or if we want to have them in the fastest way, there is usually no cheap option. Therefore, it becomes a real expensive service. In addition, perhaps the most underrated issue is the one of sustainability of delivery services, as sustainability is addressed just a mere add-on to the service. Therefore, it's not really embedded in the business model. Lastly, there is no real and direct connection among the sender and the deliverer, so which instead can enhance trust and become a real innovation in these processes. So peer livery tackles all the three issues at the same time by providing a fast service at an affordable price, with sustainability at the core through the creation of a strong connection among all the actors involved. Going on.
We decided to focus on the Italian domestic parcel delivery market, both on C2X and B2C. And our addressable market is quite huge. I mean, 1.13 billion euros and 220 million parcels per year. And some drivers show a great future opportunities for this market, including the fact that more and more products are bought on the internet and need to be delivered. And the global sharing economy trends foster our C2C solution.
And we are a platform which connects people who want to deliver or transport a parcel quickly with people who want to make their journey more profitable. This can be done by car, train, or plane. The objective is to create a link at the right price while optimizing the journeys to limit the ecological impact. Let me explain how it works with an example. Niels, who is in Turin, wants to send a package to Florence. So he posts a message on the app with the price he's willing to pay. Marie, who is driving this way, has seen Niels' request and accepts it. They agree on the place to give the package to each other. Niels pays and peer livery collects the money after the product has been delivered and the recipient has confirmed the receipt. Marie is credited with the money.
So now how we're going to make money from this project. First, we will obviously take a commission on the delivery, so both a fixed and a variable. Then we will have, when we will have enough volume, we think we can leverage on the amount of data we can collect thanks to the application. And finally, we can get money thanks to targeted advertisements on the app.
So now we wanted to show you also a little bit of the competition that we have here in Italy. So we identified the main competitors and we compared this providers among the main features of the delivery system. So specifically, the characteristics related to our value proposition. So the price affordability, the delivery time, the communication among the actors, and the flexibility of the service, and the interest in sustainability. And at the end, we can see that our, let's say, our solution can match all of the main, let's say, the main pain points of these delivery services.
And to close the presentation, now a few words on the team. So we met at ESCP, but we have complementary skills thanks to our diverse backgrounds and professional experiences, so in finance, marketing, sales, and consulting. And in addition, we can count on the support of, from two experts who agree to help us in the area of expertise, so logistics and app development. So that's all I think I have finished. We can take your questions.
Excellent, very nice. So floor is open to comments and questions. Who would like to go first?
Well, I have a very quick question. You listed some factors that are some features of the parcel services. I think you missed one, which is the trust factor. Okay, when you ship something, you want to have trust. Just to give an example, a few years ago, we didn't have any trust in the Italian post service. So, you know, they had to work a lot on that, and now they're very reliable.
Yes, of course.
Is your service, I mean, what is the trust factor there?
We are going to create your profile. You will have to check your ID first. So we know who you are, the one who spend the parcel, it's important, but the one who travel with the parcel. And also we have warranties. If there is an incident during the journey, you can have your money back.
And maybe to foster the feeling of trust, we wanted to have a system like BlaBlaCar, where you have insights on the people who deliver your parcels, so you know how they are being rated. I think it creates a feeling of community, which can help people to gain trust in the app and in the system.
I'll go in on questions. How much money do you anticipate do you need to start your operations? Just a range.
Maybe I can go on this idea, on this project. We think we need to invest a lot on marketing, and we have imagine something in 3 steps. So first, launch a marketing campaign to have a project between Turin and Milan, then to have a marketing advertisement in northern Italy, and then in the whole Italy, so to have enough supply and demand to launch the project. So the main investment would be in marketing, and we thought maybe to raise around 400,000 euros to cover expenses. I think we have a slide just after that explain briefly.
Yes, because this is not that hard to create the website and to the thing that will make that the website will work. The hot point, this is of course that we have to be famous, communication on Instagram with people who use that like influencers on the street, on the bus, all of that.
Yes, the main issue is about creating the community of delivery people and people who send. So the customer acquisition is key, of course, in our project.
And regarding the tech platform and also the customer service, how do you anticipate to manage that?
Sorry, what was the first point?
How do you react to complaints? If people are not satisfied with your service, the service risks to die very early. So how do you ensure that many people managing your operation and your service will will serve your customer very well? And how would you tackle complaints?
I think what is important is to have a very reactive customer service. It can be the issue can be very important for some people if they send valuable things. So I would say that thanks to our app, we can have direct access to a customer service platform. We would like to keep it as small as possible because we know it costs a lot. But that is something that will be tested on the first proof of product, proof of concept we would implement in Northern Italy.
May I ask a question?
Yes, go on, Laura.
Thank you.
Last question.
Have you thought that maybe your solution may actually lead people to jump on a car just to deliver a parcel?
So to create a community of delivery people, right? That's what you mean?
Let's keep aside the term community.
Yes,
and
on
let's
the
focus
ecological
on the
point.
business. So what I'm saying is, which is your impact factor? And if actually your impact factor is a positive impact or maybe non-positive impact, what I'm trying to convey is, have you estimated, have you thought that people may be tempted to use their car because they can deliver a parcel,
Yes.
and not because they are driving to go to a destination just because they are set to go there for
Yes.
other reasons?
I think it's true. If the parcels are really expensive, if it's expensive, you want to take your car to deliver. But if you do like the system of BlaBlaCar, this is not that expensive. So you are not going to make a travel between Turin and Rome just to earn 5 or 10 euros. This is you will not have in-house money.
Yes, it's true, but you can also deliver more than just one package or one parcel.
Yes, we have to believe in that. To
Yes.
second that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Laura, for this very interesting point. So time is over and we move to the next group. And the next group is U-Class. So the virtual stage now is open to Francesca, Pietro, Augusto, and Matteo. Ready, steady, go. 5
Hi, Elisa. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. So Francesca is going to share her screen. And when we're ready, we go. Ready, steady, go. So when we started brainstorming about what startup to create, we agreed on just one thing. We wanted to do something that could impact our daily lives. I remember we were on a Zoom call and we were in a huge disagreement on what to do, but the solution was right under our nose. I mean, not the solution, but the problem was definitely in front of us. The problem being distance learning. As I'm sure of, the pandemic has revolutionized student life. One of the main problems is the lack of interaction. Lack of interaction, which in turn means less engagement, less understanding of subjects, and a lower quality of education. When looking for a solution, we clashed with the problem of innovating an already innovative product, for which we chose a double-sided strategy. On the one hand, we wanted to improve learning material. On the other, we wanted to recreate positive features that were lost with the switch to e-learning. So our solution is a platform that will allow students to interact in a virtual 3D space through avatars in a video game-like environment, because video games and virtual spaces in general are how communities are created in 2021. I now ask you to turn your attention to Francesca, our CEO.
So how will this project work? Once registered on the platform, each student, professor, or employee will have the possibility to create his avatar, choosing the characteristics he prefers, making it as similar as possible to himself. While previously, each school and university will be able to create its virtual campus, recreating in a virtual reality all the environment and rooms that are present in the physical ones. Then, when everything is ready, each student and professor through its computer will have the possibility of roaming around the campus using spaces for learning, playing, and interacting with peers. Now let's present us. This is the team that will work on this project. I am Francesca, will be the CEO. Then there is Augusto, will be the CTO. Then Pietro, who will be the head of sales, and Matteo will be the business developer. The roles that we will cover and we assigned to us were decided due to our previous experience in that areas. And we know that we will need some external support for example, a game developer and other advisors that will help us in develop better our project. Now I will let the stage to Pietro for having a look on our target market.
Yeah, thank you, Francesca. Now, moving to the market side, we would like to show you some insights regarding the target market and our business model. As you can see by the slide, we have a market size of 200 billions regarding the learning, with a reference market of 70 billions, focusing from elementary to the university sector. There is also the 70% of the addressable market as total. We would like to promote an only inclusive service by asking an annual fee to our customers. And we think for that to have in the future an estimated revenues about 85 millions for 2026 that correspond also to the 0.5% of the total market share. Just to give you also an overview about our main competitors, we offer some service that nowadays we are using frequently, but we think to give also something particular, for example, by giving a continuous experience improvement. So for the final part, now I will let the stage to Matteo. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Pietro. Talking about our future, on the left side, you can see a visual representation of how and what areas we will use the seed money in order to bootstrap our company. On the commercial side, you can see how much attention we put both on our potential and penetrated customers. In fact, marketing, sales development, and IT maintenance, which include obviously customer relationship management, represent 58% of the money allocation. Furthermore, we decided to allocate a huge amount in research and development because we think that the less our software crashes, the higher is the level of control that we can have over our customer satisfaction rate, preventing at the same time additional costs for additional IT maintenance. On the right side, you can see our needs in terms of human resources, skills, and what type of support we need from our next partners that will be crucial to accelerate the speed of growth of our project. So to conclude, in light of what we have said, our forecast reveal the need to ask from investors 400,000 euros, corresponding more or less to 30% of the total available shares, taking in consideration a pre-money evaluation of 3.1 million euros. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask.
Perfect, excellent. Time for questions. Who would like to go first?
I can go if you wish, Alisa. How would you structure your go-to-market strategy to school? Which kind of main activities do you believe you should implement in the first 90 to 180 days of your startup?
Who's going to reply to that?
I thought like Pietro was going because he's the one in charge of the sales, but I can go because we discussed about it. We want to start with with some schools from different levels, because we want to understand which is our target market, which is our favorable market, and so we want to start by going directly into primary school, a middle school, and a high school, and a university, and try to test our product there. Then we'll decide on that when we'll have some data about the engagement of the users.
Okay, and which kind of say value added for schools do you think you could basically exploit in order to sell the solution to them? Like which kind of maybe decision maker inside the school would you think you should target in order to get it accepted and used by the school?
We thought about targeting directly the main users, so the students. We want to advertise on them and collect data from them, collect their, I don't know, emails or contact data, and know where they are going to choose then what school we're going to target. And we want to focus on the customers of our customers.
No, I can keep going. I don't know if yeah, go on.
Sorry. Don't you think that the tools already used by universities are many, and so the adoption of these additional tool might create confusion in the final users and on the professors, that maybe in some universities, of course not the ESCP, are not so keen in using technology as main tool, and other problems like this?
I completely understand your question, and that's why we decided to partner with a learning management system in order to better integrate into the already existing user experience. And that's our strategy for the start.
I think Francesco needs to do at least one question here.
Francesco. I wanted to stay to shut up because well, I really don't have. I have too many questions, and it's and it would be really nasty questions. But my point is, how are you going to be really differentiating against other competitors that are offering very, very, very similar things, if not exactly the same?
I don't know if you understood correctly, but our competitor is not Blackboard, rather than it's...
No, I understood, but
okay.
There are already a lot of solutions very close to that, unfortunately.
Sure, but as the ones who experience those solutions as users rather than customer, you are the customer as a school, but we are the users of that solution. We believe that we lacked during the months in which when we were under lockdown and we had to do distance learning. We lacked a way to interact with our classmates and with our professor, that it's outside the normal class hours, outside the frontal way of conducting a lesson by the professor. And we want to...
No, but I agree. I mean, I'm not comparing, sorry, I'm not comparing what you experience, but out in the market, you know, not what you have, not what you had. There are already solutions like that are under development, and they are, of course, available.
Yeah,
few of them, but they are...
If I remember correctly, ESCP used I think Remo, I don't know how to pronounce it, in order to do I don't know what, maybe the open days at London, at the London campus, or I don't know, the career fair at London campus. And what we got from that is that there are virtual spaces. It's a continuous improvement of the experience, but it's not enough, and the users who are more our target for our user target are I mean, are used to interacting in a video game-like environment, so they would like more something like that. We made some interviews, some personal interviews to our classmates from London, and they told us that they will prefer that.
Okay.
I would like to add a comment.
Oh, sorry.
I would like to add a comment very quick. So you mentioned you're emulating video games because that's how communities are created in the 2020s. That's what you stated. Okay, I think this is positive. I think there is a vision here that learning is an experience and learning is collective. I think you came too quickly to a solution. So I will suggest to work more on the concept because the vision is interesting.
Thank you. We didn't have enough time, but our proposition was also to improve the existing learning materials. Improve the existing user experience. For example, I have a personal experience, which is, I don't know if you played it, it's Assassin's Creed, which is a video game set in the Renaissance era.
Yeah, sure.
And I learned through that a lot about the history. So we want to create an experience more like that, maybe less violent, let's say.
Yeah, but
hopefully, but
work more around the vision that learning. What you've learned from these last 12 months is that learning is not a solitary experience; it's more a collective experience. I think this is interesting.
Okay, very good points. Thank you. Now we jump to the next group. So you class, you can relax now. And the virtual stage is open for Cloudwise. So we have Pietro, Francesco, Giada, Caterina, and Romain. Stage is yours. Get ready.
Can I start? All good?
Yes, you can start. 5 minutes for you.
Perfect. So hello, everyone. Today at Cloudwise, we're here to make the digital more sustainable. So the cloud is not invisible. Right now, what we're doing a Zoom with lots of people is the equivalent of driving a car of 5 people for 1,000 kilometers. And the fact that all of us has our camera on, it means that we're emitting 96% more CO2 than if we had our cameras off. So the World Wide Web pollutes more than the whole airline industry, and it is responsible for 9% of worldwide CO2 emissions in 2019. And this problem is expected to increase a lot with COVID and the digitalization of the economy. So here at Cloudwise, we're trying to bring a solution, which is to certify businesses that stand out because of their efficient use of data and digital use. So we want to accompany companies and organizations willing to reduce their environmental impact with a consulting project as well.
So moving on to the market size, according to data from the UN and OECD countries, there are around 200 million companies worldwide. Of those, only 2 million are large and medium enterprises, which means enterprises with more than 50 employees. Again, according to data from the KPMG Survey on Sustainability Report for 2020, of large enterprises interviewed, 75% had some sort of CSR activity specifically linked to sustainability, which would mean 1.5 million users, and for the average price of our product would mean a market size of 1.5 billion euros. We are a B2B company, and the product we offer is twofold. On the one side, we offer an assessment survey, which however is free in order to reach as many businesses as possible. On the other side, we offer a certification for companies reaching a certain score on the assessment, as well as classes for companies who wish to reduce their digital pollution. The value proposition for company is bridge the gap between consumer expectation and companies' behavior, increase transparency and employer branding, comply with stringent EU regulation, and easier access to funding and investment. If we were to initiate our startup, we would need a funding of around 600K, which would cover a period of 2 years roughly. This would be divided in 50% in human capital, 30% in R&D, 15% in marketing, and 5% in website.
So our competitors, a pioneering company in this subject of digital sustainability is Digital for the Planet. So it's an NGO which has trained 300 people at digital sustainability. They also have a very political action with 7 governments helped to reduce their emissions and 2 laws created. So they've also had a very B2B approach with 100 companies guided and 350 conferences in 18 countries, which has helped really raise the awareness on this issue. So how we differentiate at Cloudwise is with our new certification of digital sustainability and our unique consulting service to help businesses obtain this certification and create a network of Cloudwise companies. And now for the most important part, which is the team, we have Francesco Cundari, who was talking right before me, who's got a classic degree in business and management from Bocconi, so a very solid business approach there, as well as Pietro Carabelli and Caterina Nassi, who both have a degree at Polytechnical as well as at university in masters. So we've got a very technical and knowledge here. And Jada Gatti, who's currently doing an internship at Sky in product transformation, and who's also with the same background. And I'm a bit more of a political, philosophical, or whatever. And I'm currently, I've worked for companies such as Patagonia that help reduce companies' environmental footprint. And finally, for our advisory board, we would have Elisa Sido, who is here right now. And massive thanks to for the whole term and organizing the event. And also Marco Nassi, Emanuele Carabelli, and Guillaume Vangeva, who are all CEOs and have experience in scaling up companies and starting from scratch. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed us and enjoyed the presentation and can ask us some questions. Thank you.
Very nice. Super time management even before. So now we have even more time for questions and comments. Who would like to go first?
May I? Thank you.
Move on, Laura.
Very interesting project. Thank you. I would like to ask if you can give me an idea of perhaps you have already prepared a grid in terms of sustainability indicators, because around the concept of digital sustainability, of course, there is quite, I would say, a big issue to deal with.
Do you want to go, Francesco? Or?
Yeah. All right. To be honest, it's definitely the issue here is to make it as standardized as possible, although you clearly have to take into consideration the reference industry of the company you're targeting. So we haven't quite defined the report yet, and that's why also we devoted a large part of the funding we would have to receive on R&D, especially for that purpose.
Okay.
So we're not asking for the same performance from different sectors. For example, if you work in IT, obviously you're going to use lots of computers and lots of data, and it's going to be very polluting digitally, but you can reduce it. So for example, you can have a very efficient mail management system. So every mail we send, I don't know if you're aware, but it's like 5 grams of CO2. So we can help these companies say, okay, there's actually 85% of our mails that none of us ever open. So in companies, it's the same thing. They send out too many mails, and we can help them reduce this. We can also help them use less devices, have more efficient use of devices at work. So that's 2 pillars, for example, we could approach.
Thank you.
I think most of the consulting companies today, starting from the big fours to strategic consulting to digital consulting firms, are having branches dedicated to sustainability and to impact. What is your let's say your barrier at entry, or how do you defend your position once these players will be attacking this space?
If I may go, I think that if you look at the B Corporation, for example, which has been started by Patagonia and moved to lots of brands, now it's very cool to have that certification. If you look at the B Corporation, there's no place for digital sustainability. And it's a problem that companies are getting increasingly aware of with COVID and the fact that by 2040, it's going to represent double the emissions. And I think if we have a first mover advantage and go in there first and have like a unique, knowledge compared to other consulting companies which are more large, if we focus just on the digital aspect, which is going to be huge, I think we will have some credibility.
Sure, but as far as understood, your business model is based on consulting. So if the idea is to be paid for the certification, but people get consulted by other companies, your revenue model will probably be way less. So if a large strategic corporation or starting from BCG to Bain to whatever, do a consulting project overall for a business on how to reduce the impact. And then they just come for you for the certification after they did what they had to do. Your business model is probably too optimistic, or anyways, is not rounded enough.
So if I may, I specify that the offering is twofold, because there is the classes, which is what you're referring as consulting for companies to reduce their digital pollution, as well as the certification, which is, however, you can see it as a complementary, but it's a different stream of revenue, because they are not necessarily linked to one another. A company can also decide just to pursue.
Sure, but will reduce significantly the revenue streams of the company overall, the size of the company overall, if you just focus on one of the two business lines.
I think the whole idea is to certify businesses, and we would say, for example, we based our studies on $1,000 per certification per year. So regardless of the size of a company, or if it's very big, it pays more, a bit like a B corporation, but we get $1,000 per year per certification acquired. And if that company doesn't reach it, our business model and our target customers is to be saying, okay, you didn't reach us, but we will be here to help you. And I don't think, for the moment, I don't think BCG, Bain, and the Big Four offer specific consulting in terms of digital sustainability. They do it for a lot of things, but I'm not sure they've got, like, I mean, the specific.
I agree with you that today they're not doing, but to add one revenue stream is very fast for them. So they're already within the client, so it's very easy for them to deploy one new sector. I will leave the floor to other members of the jury.
In fact, actually, like
one last comment. Yes, Alessandro, one last comment.
Yeah, just a suggestion, actually, like Alisa, building on what Marcello just shared, which I totally agree. Have you thought about working with instead of against the consulting firms in order to exploit them as enablers and get to your B2B clients with them, via them, adding the certification to their portfolio of solutions?
We definitely haven't thought of any competitor if it wasn't for just the direct one that we analyze in our slides. Again, we see our core product as the certification, and so how that certification is achieved it's not mainly our concern, and definitely we could work with any other partner, and specifically because this is we see it as a market in an intro stage. It is definitely worthwhile to think of partnership rather than competition.
If I may add just something, I think that in the medium to long term, the aim is to really acquire all the technical skills and the digital credibility to create the certification. And then after that, we were thinking, of course, if we can sell the concept to BCG, Bain, or the Big Four, and they can help companies, the whole, like, our mission statement is to reduce digital pollution. So if we can work with companies who are aiming to do that and make it profitable for us, I think that's definitely something we would consider.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Cloudwise. Now you can relax again, and we are jumping to the group Parquet. So the stage is open for Giannicolo, Ugo, Arianna, and Ruben.
Yep.
Ready, steady, go. 5 minutes also for you.
Yeah, wait. I'm trying to. Okay.
We can start. So, good evening, everyone. We are Arianna, Giannicola, Ruben, and Hugo, and together we are Parquet, and we want to create a network of modular smart shelters for bicycles and scooters in Italian cities. The problem we want to tackle is a paradox. More and more Italian cities are promoting and enhancing sustainable urban mobility through the so-called PAMS plans, whose goal is to decrease the pollution in the cities. However, this green transition is not adequately supported and seems unsustainable at the moment. In fact, about 350,000 bicycles are stolen every year in Italy. And this issue concerns me closely because in my life in Milan, I've had my bike stolen 4 different times. And I've always been very disappointed about that. And this widespread sore point has a double negative effect. On one hand, it costs money and time to people to buy more bicycles. And on the other hand, it slows down these sustainable mobility initiatives.
Okay, great. So our solution is based on the creation of bicycle parking shelters to be placed in strategic location, squares and streets. These spots will be technologically advanced with video surveillance and will be accessed by only reservation a seat on an app. In these spots, you can park your bike or e-scooter and also recharge the batteries, thus avoiding bringing your vehicle in the office or parking in the streets. This installation will be also aesthetically appealing so as not to disturb the ecosystem of every Italian cities and providing a safe and reliable space to all citizens.
Okay, so our market is characterized by great opportunities, both economically and in terms of sustainability. Starting from Milan as the pilot city, we would like to extend in a second phase to other similar cities such as Turin, Bologna, Treviso, and then expand our solution in the entire Italy in order to satisfy the needs of citizens. Statistical estimates confirm an increase in the use of bicycles and scooters in the coming years, especially considering the growing needs of Italians to live in a more eco-sustainable way, and in the other end, the consequent bonuses allocated by Italian governments to foster the purchase of bikes and electric scooters. At the moment, there are several solutions to implement green mobility, but they are all different and come with different solutions to the Parquet one. So Parquet will be the only international startup offering this complete proposition with the aim of putting the customer at the center of its offer at a price that is totally advantageous compared to the competitors and the market that is evolving towards green mobility.
Regarding the business model, we have a range of three main activities: the development of the business, starting with the city of Milan and the subsequent expansion of our network to other cities, the design and the production of our products, and then the marketing. And we want to have a communication channel both online and on site. Regarding the customer segment, we want to address citizens between 14 and 40 years old in medium and big cities who own and use a bike or scooter frequently.
Our revenue streams that are made up of monthly subscriptions, ad hoc rentals, and advertising revenues will help us to reach our break-even point in 3 years. Thanks to a steady effort to raise awareness and to strengthen our positioning. We also believe that at the end of the 5th year of a project, we'll manage to cover 1/4 of our addressable market. And we think that this 25% market share seems to be justified. In order to carry out our project and to spread our solution, we aim to raise 400,000 euros. This financial aid will help us to cover our main expenses, which are basically our production costs, our operational expenses, and our staff costs, which should increase over the years as we plan to hire more and more collaborators.
Okay, so this is our team. Giannicolò is our founder, coming from a management engineering from Politecnico. Hugo, that comes from pure business background at TCP. Arianna, as Giannicolò, coming from a double degree program. And me, the CTO, or the nerd guy from computer engineering in Politecnico di Torino. So we developed this project to address a real and existing problem that is partially hindering the whole green transition that many cities are struggling to achieve. And we believe in our project, in the added value and in the impact that a service like ours can benefit in every citizen and for their citizens. So thank you all.
Excellent, thank you. Now we have the comments by the jury. Who is the first one?
I'll add my comment. Nice idea. So can you please briefly explain about unit economics? How much people are going to pay for 1 hour of the service? How long is it going to take to repay actually let the parking make cash?
So according to the, if I may answer, according to the assumptions we made, we think that over the 2 first years will generate losses. That's why we calculated the amount of money we want to raise according to the accumulated losses we'll make during the 2 first years. And we also made some assumptions regarding the pricing of our solution. So according to the surveys we conducted, we decided to fix a 10 euro price for the monthly subscription for customers who would often use our solution. And regarding the hourly fee, because some users will rent spots on occasionally, we decided to first offer a 25-cent hourly fee, which should increase over the years as our services and our offering will be better over the years. I don't know if I answered.
Yeah, thanks. So you have a price, that's good.
Wants to go next with the comment?
If I understood well, you will put these pods in on the street, right? Well, on the street, on the pavements. Okay. Did you thought about dealing with municipality? How?
Yeah, for sure. We assume that the space that the pods will occupy is the same as a blue parking for the cars, and it's modular, so we can build a pods according to the space, and we thought that we should talk with the municipalities because they are interested in this service, as many bikes are parked in the street and in the middle of nowhere.
Okay. And what about the security level of these pods?
The security level, you mean
well, if I pay to park my bike there, I expect the security to be top notch.
Yes, for sure. The pods, you can reserve a seat or a space, and you will enter only by reservation and with a QR code. The pods will be video surveillance, and inside the pods, every space has a locker, and you can only unlock the space with your app, as car sharing works, for example. And yes, they are way more secure than leaving your bike outside.
Okay, understood.
Who else would like to make a question, a comment to clarify?
I think there is a great opportunity actually on your side also to exploit the space that you have available for advertisements within the pod or for communications with Impact, so that you have a more rounded business model here, and try to make it more sustainable on the medium long run. But this is just an idea thrown out like that.
Yes, we plan to put the solar panel in the top of the pods, so the pods consuming electricity is also from the solar panels, and for charging bikes and scooters there will be a source of energy linked to the General Electric system, but keeping contracts with only sustainable source of energy.
Okay.
One question from my side. How do you manage to build the overall network of pods with only 288,000 euro of staff costs in the 5th year? And I assume that also includes management, people, and everything. It seems a little bit And also the second question is, you are presenting a company that makes basically 70% EBITDA in the fourth year, and that's a little bit non-realistic. So how do you see this?
Yeah, in the first year, we assume that we don't want to hire anyone, and the team member, we will not take any kind of salary and wage. And from year 1 and 2, we're planning to start to hire someone. And in year 1, we are planning to have a team of 7 people, and year 2, 9. And then 15 and 20. And regarding the second point was...
It's the EBITDA that it's incredibly high compared to the, I mean, it's...
Yeah, because we made the assumption that we will develop a trusted community of users, and we will charge a higher fee. And because we start, as Hugo said before, we start from 25 cents, and we will arrive to 50 cents. So we will double the hourly fee. And so maybe this is the reason for such an high EBITDA.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for the comments. We are now moving to the next group. So thank you so much, Parquet, for the very nice pitch. We are jumping to the last but not least group, which is ITIVA, and the stage now is open for Oscar, Katarina, Arthur, and Eduardo. 5 minutes for you. The stage is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. We are ITIVA, and our motto is, if life gives you a computer, start coding. Our team is composed by individuals from different backgrounds and bachelors, going from Brazil to Europe, from psychology to engineering. Our board is composed by Rachel, who has a huge experience on the social and business sector, Cristiane, who has a huge experience on the finance and educational sector, and Sam, associate at Nairobits, a nonprofit who for 20 years in Kenya has been teaching disadvantaged youth IT skills, operating in a similar way to our business idea. Our targeted country is Brazil, where 31.4% of those between 18 to 25 are unemployed, and where also the IT market is growing enormously, having the position of web developers from 2019 to 20 grow 97%. The solution for these two problems, taking in consideration unemployment hits more poor classes, is joining young Brazilians from favelas with computers and teaching them IT skills. With that, we will bridge the gap of the IT market, where in 2026, just in São Paulo, there will be 24,000 empty spots, and give these students an opportunity to change their living situations. The service is then composed by 4 steps. The recruitment, where we will select the students eager and ready to learn. The teaching will be done in our centers next to the communities where these young adults live. There, they will work on projects designated by real companies to us, learning from real business cases. We will also prepare our students with soft and job hunting skills, helping them to find and stay on the job. Lastly, the payment will be done by companies who will partner with us to have access to these students to be their employees, paying 400 euros for that. Also, another form of revenue for us will be the projects designated by the companies to us, which in average would generate 800 euros. This in total would give us a revenue of 342,000 in 2026.
Market-wise, we know that the global ICT market is one of the biggest in the world, with a size exceeding 4 trillion euros. The Brazil market is quite large as well, with a size of more than 50 billion euros. In recent years, the market has greatly expanded due to lots of investments, both from foreign and domestic, that made Brazil one of the top 10 countries in the world for the IT investments and the first in Latin America. Focusing on our first target market, the ICT market size in São Paulo represents around 40% of the whole Brazil, which is around 20 billion euros. And we found out that there are around 1 million businesses possibly interested in using our service. Of this 1 million, the IT spending goes from the merge 14,000 euros to a whopping 1.2 million euros. Now I'm going to speak more about our financials. For the EBITDA, we know we have a negative result for in our first year of 27,000 euros. We will break even in the second year with a positive EBITDA of around 76,000 euros. And then we'll see in a steady increase in which we'll reach 190,000 euros in year 5. We also have a progressive increase in our number of users, or number of students. On year 1, we have just 120 students. By the end of year 5, we'll reach 1,000 students. As you can see, our monthly recurring revenue is quite high, almost 3,000 euros on year 1, and then increases by 900% to reach around 29,000 euros on year 5. Finally, we're able to limit risk by having a customer acquisition cost of only 68 cents, which is associated to an average customer lifetime value of 408 euros. Thank you very much for your attention. If you wish to know us more, feel free to contact us on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, we are more than happy to answer them in the Q&A session.
Excellent. So now we have the Q&A session. Comments from the jury. Who would like to go first? Don't be shy.
Well, I have a quick question. If I understood well, you're going to get kids that are interested in computer science. You train them, and then you're going to be selling their skills to companies. Who is going to guarantee the quality of their work?
Well, we plan to not only give them formal teaching, but to make them work on real-life projects given us by real companies, and teach them soft skills. Not only the.
Yeah, but my question was, who is going to guarantee the quality of their work towards the end customer, who are going to be the one paying for the service? The company understood that they're going to be paying for this coding, right?
Yeah, actually, that's a source thought for the first years. For later years, obviously, I'd say the word of mouth and previous results would for sure be our best business card. For the first years, we plan to have a sort of career day, I'd say.
No, but maybe I'm asking something else.
Yeah, I understood your question. I'll answer your question. So what will guarantee our quality, especially in the beginning, is the partnership and kind of consulting service that we'll have from Nairobits, who has been doing the same thing for almost 20 years in Kenya. So they already have the experience in what to learn, how to teach, and what businesses are looking for. And they're constantly updating their curriculum and what they teach kids based on the demands from the companies. So we will guarantee our quality based on previous experience from this one, and also by talking with the other competitors that do not target the same people that we are targeting, and they are having success too.
Okay.
If I may add to that, I mean, there are quite different solutions of similar, I would say, with a similar approach, I would say almost all over the world. What I have seen is that usually this kind of guarantee or quality guarantee versus the customer is actually provided by in-house experts that actually supervise the delivery of a reasonably good job. On the other side, I think this is quite, I would say, a well-tested solution, well-implemented, as I was saying, so that in Eastern Europe, Northern Europe, and Southern Italy, we have a case which is actually growing quite fast and has been invested also by Cassa Depositi e Prestiti quite recently. So, I mean, it has got a good perspective of growth and also positive impact. The only thing is that with the time passing by, you may run the risk to actually create, I would say, low level or low paid jobs in this kind of industry. So the thing is actually to be aware that also, even if they find a good living, that actually there should be the need to continue to ongoing training or lifelong training or more, I would say, specialization, because that would, I would say, cover a certain period of their life. And of course, after a while, the industry will require a more qualified job and skills.
Yeah, what we have not said is that we plan to have more than one level of teaching, with a first level, which is pretty basic, and second and the third level, with where the teaching is in terms of hard skills would be of a higher and higher level. As an example, we said first level, level one technical job would be, like we said, the web development, which is pretty basic. Actually, it's not as simple, but it's pretty basic from a technical point of view. While a third level may be data scientist, which is very in demand, but needs a lot more skills than specific skills than a web developer.
I think that is, a quite good way of presenting and developing it. I mean, you need actually to show that there is this kind of scale of teaching, education, and training. I give you an example. The European Commission in certain areas of Europe estimates that this kind of solutions, which, as I said, were quite widespread in Eastern Europe and Southern Europe and so on, are actually now in their, I would say, lifespan, where it is now an evidence that they generate poor paid jobs or low wage jobs. So I guess in different geographies, it is different. And of course, the need is different, but also the numbers, the volumes are different. But the key point is actually to show that you're going to train on a full scale of skills and knowledge.
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much. Wow, the 6 pitches are already over. I'm really impressed by the results and also very proud, as I have seen you since the start from January on. So I'm very happy that I'm not part of the jury, because I'm very happy that I don't need to decide who is the final winner. So we have the moment of the jury will leave our main room. They will go into the breakout room and have 20 minutes together with Manuela from the Blue Factory, the incubator from our ESCP. So we have a strong support from the Blue Factory in order to manage the decision-making process by our jury. So thank you so much, Manuela, also for being with us. Enjoy the 20 minutes, okay? Keep them, the 20 minutes. Be German as me, and see you in 20 minutes. Yes. In the main room, we now have the pleasure to listen to a very exciting and enlightening keynote by Alberto Cartasegna, who is the CEO and founder of Miscusi. But he has not only the experience by Miscusi, but there's also more. So he also has experience by Helpling and Rocket Internet. I'm very happy and honored that we have him here with us online, and he will talk about what does it take actually in order to become a great and successful entrepreneur, as we all have this in our minds. So I leave again the stage to Alberto, very much thank you that you're with us. So stage is yours. Enjoy.
Hello, Eliza. Hello, everybody. Thanks a lot for the nice words. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Actually, I always find a lot of energy and motivation to speak to where I was a few years ago. So it's always very motivating for myself as well. And I hope this 10 minutes, 15 minutes would be the same for you guys. I'll just try to share. I was suggested to come up with like 5 tips or tricks to become a successful entrepreneur. There is clearly not a 5 rule to become a successful entrepreneur, let alone the fact that actually it's interesting to me to stimulate a conversation on what is success, because there are many ways of looking at success, and I don't think there is necessarily one that is right or wrong, but it's very important to ask yourself, how do you define success? What is it for you? And it can be, anything. It can be revenue or EBITDA that I listened to it before as I joined a little bit earlier. It can be the stock price of your company once you IPO. It can be, your own net worth and how much money you make out of it. Or it can be something different. It can be the impact you have with what you do, in something that is broader than yourself, your pockets or the pockets of your investors. It can be your health, your personal mental health and the one of your friends and family. It can be anything, but you need to define it. It can be the quality of the relationships that you build in your life. And I really want you to step back and think about success, how you define success, because you will find yourself down the line, if you want to be an entrepreneur, asking this question many times, and if you don't, then you're clearly not going to have any of that success. So me personally, I developed different answers throughout, let's say, the last 7 or 8 years since I started this journey. And to me, being an entrepreneur is really a life journey. It's a calling. It's a mission. And it's the best thing in the world. It's not a job. It's not a weekday or weekends or how many hours per day. Once you get into this mentality, everything changes. So that's the way I look at it. And then the definition for success for me, as you probably have understood, is a little less about the money. It was at the beginning, in a way, as I come from a very humble family and a very simple background. It was a struggle at a certain point in my life, and obviously you're attracted by the fact that you might have more money, you might do more things, and it's true, of course, once you get there. But then immediately and very quickly changes. At least it happened to me, and nowadays when I wake up in the morning, the driver and the successful definition of my good day or my bad day, it's all about really the impact and the health and the happiness and the joy of every day, and now it comes with my 5 tips, but I needed this to be loud and clear before, because otherwise I think changes very much depending on what you are aiming at. So the purpose, it's my very first tip. So as a person, as an entrepreneur, you need to be purpose driven nowadays more than ever, because I think COVID helped a lot. But we have a bigger problem than COVID, and everybody knows and everybody's aware about climate change. Actually, today I think is Earth Day, but we should really celebrate this planet every single day, and we should really watch out on our impact on this planet. And this planet needs you, needs me, needs people like us and the future generation to really act upon the main challenges that we have. And there is a clear framework. I don't know if you ever heard about the Sustainable Development Goals. You probably do. That has been, announced by United Nations, and it's been guiding everybody on what are the main challenges. There are like these 17 goals that we as global citizens have and we should look at. So I highly suggest you to look at that United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and make those goals your goals. You can pick 1 or 2, or you can pick 5 or 7, whatever, but make those your guiding stars, make those your, you anchor your purpose, your vision to those goals. If you don't, to me, you're not going to be successful. You might make money, but you're not going to be successful in the way I look at success. So this is the very first and foremost tip that I would give to anybody who starts an entrepreneurial journey. And I say entrepreneurial journey because you might start a company and then that might fail, and then you do another one or another couple before you actually get on track. But the journey and the decision to be an entrepreneur, it's something you take once in your life and then you hardly gonna get back. As I said, it's probably the best job in the world, as it is, even if it comes with ups and downs. Then the second tip would be to have a proper set of values, which is another way of looking at the purpose. So the purpose to me is really the guiding star, is really your end ultimate goal. Why are you doing it? And why is your organization shaped in a certain way to get there? But then you need fundamentals, you need certain pillars, which we call values. So you need to be really value-based and value-driven. So those are the, let's say, 4 or 5 pillars upon which you won't compromise. And those values are the genetics of yourselves and your company. So when you grow a company, you might be yourself, your co-founder, a few people at the beginning, then it grows with 10 people, 100 people. We are about 600 people now. And then, well, we're going to get to a few thousands very soon. And when you spread this fast, you want to make sure you have the proper genetics in place so that they replicate, even if you're not in touch with everybody every day, because of course you can't, as much as you want to be hands-on and be close to your people, but of course you will lose touch, and the culture needs to be nurtured by your DNA, your genetics. So the values are really those components, and they must be coherent with the purpose. Of course, they must set the ground for you to grow your company towards the purpose, to reach the goal and become successful. That is really my second tip. And then the third would be to be people-oriented and people-universal. What do I mean by that? Is that, of course, you by yourself can't do much. If you really want to have big impact, you need to have a clear vision, clear purpose, good set of values, and then a lot of people aligned towards those values and towards that purpose. To have those people, you really need to care about them. You really need to be universal in a way that you can speak with any of them in their language. Because as an entrepreneur, you will find yourself, let's say in my case, to speak with the waiter and to be sometimes a dishwasher with them. And you might find yourself speaking with a very large international investor, or even with the United Nations and the FAO, or those multi, super institutional companies or institutions where you have different languages, you have really different words that people understand. It's not in Italian or English or Spanish whatsoever, but it's the level of education, the level of background, the access to informations are very different. And you need to be universal in that sense if you want to be a good leader. And you need to be a good leader who align those people towards that purpose based on those values. So those 3 are really, to me, like simple, simple. I hope simple to understand, very difficult to implement, basics of any successful company and therefore a successful entrepreneur. Then there are another couple of things at least, since the number is 5. Otherwise, I could go on probably but you need to be humble throughout that. And this is like, I find it particularly hard because I'm in a way, I've always been very confident and very arrogant sometimes. But then you realize the moment you stop being humble for real, and it's not the attitude, because someone can act as if it was humble or as if it was arrogant, but then you're probably the only one knowing whether you are humble or not for real. And what do I mean by humble? Is being open-minded, being connected, because you define with the others and with what's going on around you, because you define this purpose, you define this set of values, you employ this army of people that follows you because you are able to share that vision. They trust you, they trust the vision, and you are capable of motivating and shaping processes. And that's an organization. It's, an army of people that is properly shaped. But then if you lose connection with the outside and with what's going on, because you get blind by the success, then you find your way to a very dangerous place. So you need to be humble. You need to keep your eyes open all the time. Curiosity has to be there every single day. And then my last one is something I learned this year or the past year is a word that I didn't even know what it meant. It's resilience. So you need to be resilient. Life in general, and in particular as an entrepreneur, it's hard in the face sometimes, and you need to be ready for it. So it won't go as you planned sometimes. If it doesn't go as you plan most of the times, then you might revise your plan. But it is okay, and it is completely normal that you see something, you act upon that, and then things change. And I think last year we all learned that, and nobody would have ever expected. So we don't need these extraordinary events come to learn that we need to be resilient. This can apply to every little things in your daily agenda or in your monthly plan or your 3 to 5 years industrial plan. You need to think about this, and you need to have the courage to struggle, and you need to have the patience to wait, because it takes what it takes, and it is clearly complicated road. Sometimes it's a very bumpy road, and there's no easy way through it if you really want to have success in the way that I mean it, and if you really want to have an impact towards one of those sustainable goals, and you really want to deliver on the promise you make with your purpose, and you really want everybody to be happy in the ecosystem you're building, not only at the end, because there won't be an end, but throughout the journey. So in order to deliver success in this way, you clearly need to be humble, open-minded, and resilient along the way. So that's a little bit of my piece of advice. I hope it's somehow clear and that will be useful in the future. But yeah, do become an entrepreneur, because it's the best thing that can happen to you. I can promise that.
We already have a question here, because I saw now Francesco has raised his hand. Francesco, yes, please, you can make a question to Alberto.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you very much for your time and your patience. I would like to know, given that you stressed a lot the themes of purpose and values, and also to drive employees whenever your company grows so fast, what are your values at Miscusi for this purpose?
So I'll give you in a nutshell. I think values also can change throughout time, by the way. But first of all, we are family is our first value. We only have 4 values, and then we use those values for everything. Like, for example, recruiting. We have a framework where people score the candidates based on those values. We have specific questions during the interviews where we take on a quantitative approach to really come out with an objective assessment on, okay, how's this Francesco fits within our values. Then we also have some other tools, and we triangulate. Of course, that's not the only thing on which we base it, but it has a big weight. And this is the recruiting and development of the people, and really everything we do with the suppliers we choose. We value them we do a due diligence on the suppliers, not only on, for example, the price and the quality and the quantity they can deliver, the scalability and so on, but also on our values. So our family is the first, and it's really the sense of belonging that we always build and we want to build within the company and within our community, which is basically the way we look at it. It's the same thing. Then the second is just care, which means a lot of things, but it's mainly about caring where the food comes from. So there's a big sustainability angle there since always. We look at, like, I'm sitting at my house at the moment, just to give you a brief example, which is in the middle of the farm where we plant our own cereals, and we track CO2 emissions, water savings, and biodiversity restoration. We have 3 KPIs, and we have satellites and IoTs and regenerative agriculture techniques with which we do these things. Just to say that, we don't pre-wash on the sustainability word, but we actually act and sit on these things. So just care goes from that to our guests, the way we treat our guests. We really do care that they're happy when they come in. We don't want to maximize the average ticket per seat. That's eventually something that should happen if they're happy. We don't look at the other way around. Humble quality is the third value, which means that everything we do it at max quality, but it has to be super simple. We don't want to complicate things. So this goes, for example, in our plate of pasta, there's a maximum of 5 ingredients. Each of them, it's the top quality you can find, but it's no more than 5. And this again applies to everything. I just gave a brief example. And then the last is think big long term and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride is what I just explained before. So I don't see it as, just you push hard, you cry, and then you have success. No. You need to enjoy it all over, which means also accepting the fact that you're sad and terribly stressed sometimes, but still you need to enjoy it. And thinking bigger long term, which is part of the same mindset, is we don't look at the short term profits, and we don't compromise any decision based on that. We look at the very long term. We are in business to stay. We want to build a company that is long lasting and that shares its value amongst every shareholder and stakeholder, and we want to make it big. That's basically how we look at those, the 4 values, but it really, the angles and the shapes are different depending on who's looking at those values. So we don't print out a nice graphics and just hang it on the wall. We live it every day, because you really need to walk your talk. You really need to be coherent with what you say in a nice presentation, and then what you do on a daily basis. And it can change as long as it's coherent, as long as you can interpret that value. And then it can shape and change, because I've written the values a few years ago, but then throughout the years, we adapted, we fine-tuned, because we grew and people gave feedbacks. And so this exchange is super important when you grow, that you also, it must be approved, it must be, of course, assessed, but it must be also open and flexible. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, there is another question actually by Federica. Yes, Federica.
Hi, first of all, thank you very much for being here. I wanted to ask you, because I'm really curious about how you came up with your idea, and since it's the hardest part, how did you test it and prototype it?
Yeah. So I slightly disagree on the fact that this is the hardest part. The hardest part is to make it happen, actually believing in it, and in a way that you jump in the darkness and you start, and then you fight until you see the light. That's much harder than coming up with a great idea. Also because my idea was pretty simple, although it was pretty disruptive, since the there is no pasta brand in the world that's scaled and that has made a success. There are a few that are still very small and not so successful, or there have been some in the past and they failed and so on. So it was pretty simple and pretty powerful. And actually the idea just came out of it because I was in Berlin. I used to work in Germany in my previous experience, which was starting to be an entrepreneurial journey with Rocket Internet, which is one of the largest, let's call it, incubator in Europe. And I was eating at Vapiano, which is this Italian food chain restaurant, which is one of the largest in the world. That it clearly has no operation in Italy, and it's been founded by 3 Germans, and it's a great concept. The food was okay and so on, but I was amazed by this idea, and I said, okay, why the hell we Italians, like, we're getting stolen all the time and we can't manage to make it ourselves. So same for coffee. If you look at Starbucks, now eventually Starbucks entered Italy last year, but I don't know if you know, guys, but Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, which is a great, inspiring leader, he got inspired by Milano. He was living here, and he exported this idea of bar and made it into Starbucks, the second, third largest chain in the world. I think probably have like 34,000 bars or Starbucks. So I was a little bit pissed and a little bit inspired at the same time. So I wanted to get back to Italy because I have my family here, my roots are here. I didn't want to abandon that, although I lived a little bit around the world. And then it just came very natural. I also opportunistically, I still see, and I saw it back then, a great chance for an entrepreneur that is, let's say, international, tech savvy, and bold enough to disrupt such a sector, such an industry that is a bit outdated. So, like, I could have gone to Silicon Valley or Tel Aviv and start my new tech thing, but I would have probably been one of the very few thousands that are outstanding out there. And well, I looked at the food retailer and I said, okay, there's nobody that is doing it. Why? Like, it's a little bit like I'm doing it now with agriculture. Like, I talk to the countryside people here, and you realize like how much space there is. So those two things, more from an entrepreneurial mindset and the other from a more industry perspective, just melted together. And of course, I mean, I love pasta. I always loved it. It's my favorite thing. I have to have it every single day or I just really die. So I said, okay, we must do something here. And then it started. And the first one was super successful. And then we opened up the second and so on. But yeah, I think it was pretty natural, it was the first of a calling of being an entrepreneur. I really made up my mind of I want to be an entrepreneur, and then I want to go back to Italy. I want to do something where you can leverage on the assets that we have. And of course, Italian food has a strong heritage. It's an asset. And, I couldn't find myself being a tech entrepreneur in the Silicon Valley. It would have made me laugh. So I said, let's apply those skill sets that I learned, those mindset that I learned when I studied in the US, when I worked around Europe, to our home country and to a very old school sector, and make it different, make it stronger. And I think we're doing that quite right.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Alberto. It was such a great pleasure to have you with us, although of course only virtual. So thank you so much.
Next year we'll do it live.
Exactly, perfect. I will take you by your words. We will join you in the farm, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll be here. Thanks
Excellent.
a lot.
Thank you so much, Alberto. Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Ciao, Alberto.
Thank you very much.
Ciao, grazie.
Ciao. Grazie.
Okay, so time is getting more serious here now. The jury is back. So again, I leave the stage to the jury, to Francesco and Laura, and I'm very happy and very excited. So
thank you so much, Elisa. And okay, Laura, I was looking for Laura because I see everybody and you don't know what people are on the screen. All right. So first of all, I'd like to thank all of you because you've done an incredible journey. It was the first year of the specialization. Of course, it happened in the year of the pandemic. Everything was more difficult than expected. But eventually we could feel, so as a jury, we could feel that you try hard and you put together a lot of the bits and pieces of learning that you had throughout the specializations. Of course, it's at some point we need to pick one, you know, there's one that needs to be clearly a winner. And there were reasons for the one we picked, but nevertheless, all the others did an excellent job. And we also liked a lot the fact that you stayed within the 5 minutes. It was a nice group dynamic. You were pitching pretty much all well, okay? And this is very important because, of course, it's not easy to find the right business idea, to have the right business model. You need to test it a lot. But then when it comes to deliver the presentation, that is something that makes the difference. You know, it's the last mile. So in the future, of course, you will have definitely more robust business model, more robust ideas. But then the pitching style, we like it. So I would give a 20 out of 20 for the pitching style to everybody. Well done. That's the first feedback I want to give. Then in terms of impact, there were some ideas with greater impact than others. And then on the feasibility, that's where, you know, a good half of you were not really into the feasibility or were not addressing the right problem which you identified with actually the best solution. But we see a lot of potential. Okay, so all the ideas can have legs and can be implemented maybe in different ways. So now it's time to declare a winner. I know that there must be a little suspense here, and I know you're all waiting for that, and I guess so for us, the winning team, the winning idea is Cloudwise. Well done, guys. Reason for that. Reason for that is that it's a huge problem. So the problem is there. The impact can be, you know, immense. Still some fine tuning, you know, on the business model, maybe on. Everybody needs to do some fine tuning, but we really liked the idea. We thought it was innovative. Feasibility is there, maybe in a slightly different way than you thought. The impact is definitely there. The style of the pitch was stunning, like the style of everybody else. The team was really, you know, was there. We could feel the team. You were in the Q&A session, you were providing pretty much all the answer, or you tried very well. So that's what we thought, and you guys are the winner. I don't know if Laura wants to add something more.
Just a few comments. I mean, to everybody, congratulations, because you try hard. But actually, Cloudwise showed a good balance, if I could say so, between innovation, impact, and also, I would say, sustainability outlook in terms of business models or prospects for growth. So, congratulations.
Well done. Well done.
Thank
you. Yes, but it's not over. It's not over. So there is a little surprise, and I think Lisa can tell you even more. But in a nutshell, there is a tradition in the Jean-Baptiste Say Institute that, and in the Option-E specialization, which is also to give a prize to the so-called good care team. So the one that showed over the semester, you know, a good dynamic, a good working together, and I think Alisa maybe wants to share a few words about that, since she was pretty much with you night and day for the whole length of the specialization.
Yes, of course. So the surprise is that we have kind of a second category for a winner, which is the one for good care. And good care because the idea is behind it that in the end, it is not a boot camp, but let's say it's a boot camp from January on until April. So 4 months in which we as different lecturers can actually see how you work in a team. And that is why we actually want to also kind of name and promote someone of you, some team of you who has really strongly shown a very, very good team spirit. And that is why we have a second category of good care.
And the winner is Parquet.
Bravi.
Okay, very well done. But I must admit, I don't know you guys. You know, I never met you before. That's with maybe a couple of you, but the feeling, the enthusiasm that was going through the video in the 5-minute speech was really, really strong and to the point. So I think there's been a lot of good care among all the teams, but of course we need to have a winner. But to me, you guys are all winners because you are the finisher of the first edition of the Option-E here in Turin. We will remember you forever, and I hope you're going to come back soon as an entrepreneur, or maybe as a venture capitalist, whatever. To bring your experience to the specialization, which hopefully will be growing like your ideas, your careers, and your startup. Okay, so now we are open to any Q&A, any...
First, we have another step in before we actually, as we have the 500 euros that are going to Cloudwise, would like to understand how Cloudwise would love to use the 500 euros. So we leave just for a few seconds the virtual stage to Cloudwise to say briefly how you would like to use the prize you just got. And again, congratulations.
Thank you again. So we picked a charity which is called Protect Our Winters, which is a charity from actually from a Romance friend. So it's a really small scale right now, and its focus is to still on climate change and to reduce climate change in order to protect specifically places where people can go skiing and snowboarding, which is one of Romaine's favorite activities.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Sounds really, really great. And again, congratulations. Congratulations to all of you. I'm very happy to have seen the final results and very sad that now the first round edition of Option-E is over. So thanks again. And thanks also to the jury. So thank you so much for being here, for all your critical voices, opinions, and comments to our first cohort of Option-E. So a special thanks to Vincenzo for being here and having also the course in Get Market Ready. Laura, who has really participated with Coutinho Social Impact Campus. Thank you so much. Alessandro from Endeavor, thank you so much. Davide from the Club delle Investitori, Marcello, and of course, also last but not least, thank you so much, Francesco, for offering all the opportunities that we have here with Option-E at the Turin campus. And this has been only the first edition, and there will be coming a lot more editions and great business ideas. So thank you all. The jury, of course, you are now free to go. Thanks again. But all the rest, you need to stay here because now we're jumping into the Q&A session. There have been some questions made in the comments on YouTube, so we would love to also provide the Q&A moment to the group. So now, again, you need to kind of get ready to be, let's say, precise in answering to the questions. So we have gathered some of the questions, and I now try to let's say, not forget any of the questions. So the first question that I would like to ask now is to the group Peer Livery. So get ready, Peer Livery. We have here a question. The question is made by Ragav. I hope I pronounced more or less the name right. And the comment is, this business model would require a large amount of marketing fund as for one service to gain profit. You will need 2 customers from both the sides, driver and sender. Not a question, but a comment. What do you think? Peer Livery, how you would like to comment on that?
Well, if I may, that's why we allocated basically most of the money for marketing, kind of, because we know, let's say, how we should allocate most of the money. So we are kind of aware of that. In some way, I would say, not being a real answer. So we took that into account.
Okay, and I just saw that there is a question actually also by Ragav asking, what if BlaBlaCar adds this as a feature in their business model?
Actually, we thought about it also one day at Coutinho, and that would be also erasing most of our problems on trust, I would say. So that would be also, I won't say like the final goal, but it would be also a nice way to promote our, let's say, our solution. So it's an option, of course.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Annalisa. Then we jump to our winner, Cloudwise. And the question by Jubal is, hey, Cloudwise team, this is a required service nowadays, but do you have any strategies to incentives companies in adapting your ratings over other ratings? Who would like to answer on that?
If I may, I think we don't, because we don't see it as an alternative. One difference between us and mainly B Corp, which is the reference certification worldwide, is that we don't aim at being exclusivity. Our main concern is awareness, and at the end of the day, reaching the highest population in terms of companies in order to reach a higher impact. And also, given that our offering is so specific towards digital pollution, it doesn't have to exclude any other certification.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Francesco. Then we move to the last question that we have here. It's for Parquet. So Parquet, get ready. Carlo is asking, what is the projected unit cost for storing a bicycle there? Stage is yours.
The projection cost for the unit, for the shelter, or to rent the space?
So the question here is the projected, so the idea for the unit cost for storing the storage, a bicycle.
Is the hourly fee, so it's 25 cents per hour in the year 0. It is going to increase during the years. And for the subscription, the monthly subscription is 10 euros per month.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I think those were all the questions that we have. So now we're actually really getting closer to the end. So now I would like to take the moment to say a big thank you to all of you. It has been a great adventure. Thank you so much for being a part of this first trial and error, first edition of Option-E, which is not only challenging because it has been the first time at the Turin campus, but even more challenging because we also have the COVID-19 outside. So thanks to all of you. It has been really great. You did a great job. I enjoyed it so much working with you. Please, let's keep in touch. I wish you all the best. And you really, really can be proud of you. I am very, very proud of you, your ideas, and your great results that you have shown tonight. So congratulations and all the best for the future. Thanks all also for joining and being here online, listening to the great pitches. I hope you had fun as much as we had. And hopefully we see you also as part of Option-E in the future. So bye-bye. Have a wonderful evening to everyone.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elisa.